Hello, everyone. My name is Brett Bartlett, and this is in regards to chapters 1 and 2 of Part 1 in Fortunes of Africa, a 5,000-year history of wealth, greed, and endeavor. In reviewing these chapters, I found a commonality that connects both of the early African peoples that are covered. Each culture endeavored to leave behind a record of who they were. They wanted to leave a mark on the land and on time itself. And they did this by carving stone and the very land itself from the 4th millennium BCE to the 1st millennium BCE. Early pharaohs launched great campaigns to acquire power and wealth, and as they say, follow the money. What were the pharaohs like Narmer doing with that money? Well, they built great complexes, temples, and tombs. As Martin Meredith states, much of the wealth that First Dynasty pharaohs and their entourages enjoyed was directed towards building increasingly elaborate tombs and funerary enclosures, designed to provide them with every comfort for the afterlife. The First Dynasty began with small complexes, but each was grander than the one before it. Meredith goes on to explain that by the Second Dynasty, tombs consisted of 58 chambers and were often made of materials such as quarried limestone. By the Third Dynasty, they were experimenting with step pyramids. The scale of these monumental structures exploded. It eventually became a struggle to complete the structures before the end of a pharaoh's life. The structures were filled with inscriptions about the gods and the favors that they gave to the pharaohs, as well as the great deeds the pharaohs committed over the course of their lives. It was a living record of who they were, where they were from, and what they had done. At perhaps the height of the empire, Ramesses II ruled, and over the course of his 66-year reign, he embarked on a massive expansion of economic growth and magnificent building projects. Meredith cites Greek historian Diodorus Siculus, who states the great colossus statue of Ramesses' throne bore an inscription that read, I am Ozymandias, King of Kings. If anyone would seek to know how great I am or where I lie, let him surpass one of my works. Ramesses believed that it might be impossible for others to match even one of his many works. And there were many. They had left detailed records of his accomplishments. Though the Egyptian empire sought great wealth and works and many children and heirs, other cultures in Africa chose to focus on different ways to leave their mark on the land, different ways of recording their history. The Niger-Congo peoples of West Africa, starting the 4th millennium BCE along the Senegal River to Cameroon, were primarily comprised of late hunter-gatherers and early cultivators. The heavy rainforest terrain of their environment slowed their cultural advance to just 12 miles per decade, states Meredith. Much like the Egyptians on the other side of the continent, the peoples of Central and West Africa were carving their stories on any stone they could find. Meredith explains that their rock art dates back 28,000 years and can be found all over Africa. They were leaving their stories, leaving their marks. Additionally, they were leaving a mark on their land, a mark for their children. Meredith remarks that cereal agriculture was originally the base foundation of their economy, but the introduction of cattle and pastoral living boosted their economy and their ability to produce food and support larger communities. This led to a drive to convert much of that rainforest land into pastoral land. Both of these early African cultures strove to claim their own segment of time, their own partition of history. They each tried to do this in a variety of ways, both by reproducing and growing their cultures, as well as by constructing legacies. They carved the land to cultivate crops for them and their children. They carved the stone to leave a permanent mark that they were here. It is important to recognize the great lengths that each went to so that they might leave a record and a better future for their future generations. They literally moved Earth to make the world better and to leave those records. After reading about their endeavors and accomplishments, especially considering their technology, I find myself asking how far I would go to do the same. What record have I left so far?